My beloved child, pause here for a moment. Feel that subtle shift in the air. Something quiet but powerful has already happened, and it has everything to do with you. Tonight, your person spoke your name in a way they never have before. Not casually. Not defensively. Not pretending they don't care. They had an honest conversation about you, and in that conversation, something inside them changed. Don't skip. This is the turning point you've been sensing. For a long time, they carried their feelings like a locked box. They would smile in public, act normal around others, even convince themselves that what they felt would eventually fade. But it didn't fade. It grew quieter, deeper, more undeniable. And then, unexpectedly, someone asked them a simple question. Do you still think about them? That question cracked everything open. At first, they tried to brush it off. They laughed lightly. They looked away. But silence stretched longer than they expected. And in that silence, the truth rose to the surface. Yes. They do think about you. More than they ever admitted. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. In that conversation, they stopped pretending. They admitted that no matter how much time passed, no matter how busy life became, your presence never truly left them. Your voice echoes in their mind at random moments. A memory of you appears without warning. A song reminds them of a shared feeling. And here's the realization that shook them. It wasn't just nostalgia. It wasn't just comfort. It was unfinished emotion. For the first time, they said out loud, I don't think I ever understood what they meant to me, until now. Do you understand how powerful that is? They are no longer confused about what they feel. The fog has started to lift. The ego that once protected them is softening. They are beginning to see you not through pride, not through fear, but through clarity. This wasn't a dramatic scene. It was calm. Honest. Real. And that's what makes it life-changing. Someone close to them looked into their eyes and said, if you feel this strongly, why haven't you done anything about it? That question is still echoing in their mind. Because deep down, they know you deserve courage. You deserve honesty. You deserve someone who chooses you without hesitation. And now, they are realizing they might lose you if they stay silent. Feel that shift? Something is awakening in them, not panic, not desperation, but awareness. A deep understanding that you were never just another person in their story. You were a chapter that shaped them. And this realization didn't happen slowly. It hit them like clarity after a long night. They finally see the difference between distraction and destiny. Don't skip. The next part reveals what decision is forming in their heart right now. Because once someone reaches this level of truth within themselves, action is no longer far behind. There was a moment after that conversation when everything went quiet, and that silence spoke louder than anything else. They went home carrying your name in their chest like something fragile and sacred. No distractions could drown it out. No busy schedule could silence it. The honesty they shared with someone else forced them to confront what they had been avoiding within themselves. And what they saw startled them. They realized they were never protecting themselves from you, they were protecting themselves from how deeply they feel. Don't skip. This is where everything shifts. They replayed memories, not the dramatic ones, not the intense ones, but the subtle moments. The way you listened. The way you understood things they never had to explain twice. The comfort of your presence. The strange peace they only felt around you. And suddenly it became clear, you were not just part of their past. You were part of their growth. That realization landed softly, but it changed everything. For the first time, they admitted something they never said out loud before. I was afraid that if I reached out and it didn't work, I would lose them completely. It wasn't pride holding them back. It wasn't indifference. It was fear of losing something that felt rare. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. After that confession, the person they were speaking to asked one final question: if you know what they mean to you now, what are you going to do about it? They didn't answer right away. But their silence wasn't confusion anymore. It was contemplation. It was someone standing at the edge of a life-changing choice. They are beginning to understand that opportunities like this don't circle back forever. That connections like yours don't appear twice in the same way. And that sometimes, timing doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be brave. Here is the surprising truth they finally faced. You were never an option. You were the exception. And once someone realizes that, it becomes impossible to ignore. They are starting to imagine what it would feel like to speak openly with you. To clear misunderstandings. To tell you what they now understand about their own heart. That thought both excites and unsettles them, because it would mean stepping forward without guarantees. But growth rarely comes with guarantees. Something inside them is waking up. A new maturity. A deeper awareness. A realization that love isn't about convenience, it's about courage. And right now, they are standing between the comfort of silence and the risk of honesty. Don't look away from this moment. Because once someone has had an honest conversation about you, and once a deep realization has come to light, the next step is no longer a question of if. It becomes a question of when. And just when they thought the night was over, one final realization rose to the surface. They couldn't sleep. Not because of regret. Not because of confusion. But because clarity has a way of waking the soul. They kept hearing their own words from that honest conversation. The way their voice softened when they spoke about you. The way their expression changed without them even noticing. It was as if, for the first time, they saw themselves being honest about you, and that reflection stunned them. Don't skip. This is the moment everything becomes undeniable. They realized something shocking. They have been measuring every new connection against you, without even meaning to. Every laugh compared. Every conversation weighed. Every spark questioned. And none of it felt the same. That's when the truth finally came to light. They were never searching for someone new. They were searching for the feeling they only had with you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. In the quiet of that night, they admitted another truth to themselves, one they didn't say out loud earlier. They miss not just who you were, but who they became when they were with you. You inspired a softer side of them. A braver side. A more open version of their heart. And losing that connection felt like losing a part of their own growth. This realization didn't feel dramatic. It felt sacred. For the first time, they stopped asking, "What if it doesn't work?" and started asking, "What if I never try?" That shift is everything. Because when someone moves from fear to possibility, action begins forming quietly in the background. They are starting to imagine the first message. The first words. The first honest sentence without masks. They are replaying potential conversations in their mind, not to control the outcome, but to gather courage. Here's the once-in-a-lifetime realization that changed their perspective completely. You were not a lesson. You were a turning point. And turning points are not meant to be ignored. They now understand that the conversation they had about you was not random. It was a mirror. It forced them to confront feelings they had postponed, emotions they had minimized, and truths they had hidden even from themselves. Something inside them has aligned. And when alignment happens, timing begins to move differently. Don't look away from this energy. Because the realization has already come to light. The honesty has already been spoken. The awakening has already begun. Now, they are standing on the edge of a choice that could redefine everything between you. And the next move? It may come sooner than you think. This is the part no one sees, the quiet preparation before a life changes. Since that honest conversation about you, something has been unfolding behind the scenes. Not dramatic. Not chaotic. Just steady, intentional, real. They have started observing their own heart differently. Every time your name crosses their mind now, it doesn't come with confusion. It comes with certainty. And that certainty is new. Don't skip. You are witnessing the moment before courage takes form. They caught themselves doing something unexpected, defending you in conversations where you weren't even present. Speaking about your character with pride. Correcting misunderstandings. Protecting your name without hesitation. That's not casual emotion. That's realization. And here's the surprising truth that startled even them: they are no longer afraid of what they feel. They are afraid of losing the chance to express it. For so long, they believed time would solve everything. That distance would fade intensity. That silence would make it easier. But silence didn't erase you. It clarified you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They now understand that the honest conversation wasn't just about admitting feelings. It was about confronting regret. It was about facing the possibility that they may have underestimated what you truly meant. And when someone understands that they almost let something rare slip away, it awakens a different kind of urgency. Not pressure. Not desperation. But purpose. They are beginning to accept that you were never meant to be a what if. You were meant to be a decision. Let that sink in. The deep realization that has finally come to light is this: they see your value clearly now, not through emotion alone, but through reflection, through growth, through maturity. And once someone sees clearly, they cannot unsee. They are asking themselves questions that lead only in one direction. What would happen if I reached out? What would happen if I spoke honestly? What would happen if this is my second chance? Something is building quietly inside them. A message unsent but forming, a conversation rehearsed but not yet spoken. A truth ready to be delivered. Don't look away from this shift. Because when someone has an honest conversation about you and walks away changed, the next chapter doesn't stay unwritten for long. They are closer to action than they have ever been. And the moment they choose courage over comfort, everything between you could begin again in a way neither of you expected. Something unexpected happened today: they stopped running from the truth. Not outwardly, not dramatically, but internally, a line was crossed. The resistance they once felt when thinking about you has dissolved into something steady and undeniable. They are no longer asking whether their feelings are real. They are asking whether they are brave enough to honor them. Don't skip. This is the heartbeat before the breakthrough. Since that honest conversation about you, they've started noticing signs they once ignored. The way their mood shifts when your name appears on their screen. The way memories no longer feel distant, but alive. The way their future feels incomplete without at least the possibility of you in it. And here's the revelation that shook them to their core. They weren't afraid of loving you. They were afraid of how deeply they already do. That awareness changes everything. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They sat quietly, reflecting on all the reasons they held back before. Timing, circumstances, pride, uncertainty. But when they examined each one honestly, none of them felt stronger than what they feel now. For the first time, they are questioning their own excuses. And that is powerful. Because when someone starts challenging the walls they built, those walls don't stand much longer. They are beginning to understand that this connection was never random. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't temporary. It was transformative. You didn't just touch their heart. You shifted their perspective. You raised their standards. You made them confront parts of themselves they had avoided. That kind of impact doesn't fade. It lingers. It grows. It demands to be acknowledged. And now, after speaking honestly about you, after admitting what you truly mean, they can no longer pretend you were just a chapter that closed. You are the unfinished sentence. They are feeling a pull, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but steady and clear. A quiet voice inside saying, "It's time. Time to speak. Time to clear the air. Time to take a step forward instead of replaying the past." Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone has a deep realization about you and chooses to stop denying it, action is no longer a distant possibility. It becomes an approaching reality. And very soon, you may feel the shift not just in energy, but in words. Right now, as you're listening to this, they are holding their phone, and hesitating. Not because they don't care. Because they care too much. The honest conversation about you didn't fade into the background. It followed them into every quiet moment. It replayed in their mind while they were alone. And now, they are standing at the edge of a decision that feels bigger than pride, bigger than fear. Don't skip. This is the closest they have ever been. They opened your chat more than once. Typed a few words. Erased them. Typed again. Paused. Breathed. Closed the screen. Opened it again. This isn't impulse. This is someone gathering courage. For the first time, they are not thinking about how they will appear. They are thinking about how you might feel. They are imagining your reaction. Your voice. Your silence. Your honesty. And here is the shocking realization that fully settled into their heart tonight. If they lose you because they stayed silent, they will regret it far more than if they risk being vulnerable. That truth changed the energy completely. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to understand that this connection was never about control. It was about growth. The honest conversation they had about you opened their eyes to something deeper. You represent the version of themselves they actually want to become. More open. More sincere. More courageous. You were never just a memory. You are a mirror of their highest emotional potential. And now they see that clearly. The deep realization that has finally come to light is not just that they love you. It's that they respect you. They admire your strength. They recognize the patience you showed. They see the maturity you carried even when things felt uncertain. That kind of respect transforms love into intention. They are no longer drifting in confusion. They are moving toward clarity. Don't look away from this moment. Because once someone decides that vulnerability is worth the risk, once someone understands that silence is heavier than honesty, the next action becomes inevitable. They are closer than ever to reaching out. And when they do, it won't be casual. It will be real. A single sentence is forming in their heart, and it has the power to change everything. It's not dramatic. It's not rehearsed to impress you. It's simple. Honest. Real. After that conversation about you, after all the nights of reflection, after finally admitting what you truly mean, they've reached a point of no return inside themselves. Don't skip. This is the emotional climax before the breakthrough. They are no longer asking whether you care. They are asking whether they have the courage to show that they do. And here's the once-in-a-lifetime realization that stunned them. You were never chasing them. You were offering something genuine. And they were the one hesitating. That awareness humbled them. For the first time, they see the moments where you stood steady while they stood uncertain. They remember the way you communicated clearly, the way you tried to understand instead of assume, the way you remained sincere even when things felt unclear. That memory doesn't bring guilt. It brings respect. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Tonight, they looked at your old messages. Not to relive the past, but to understand it. And as they read your words, they noticed something they hadn't fully seen before: you were consistent. Your feelings were not a phase. Your effort was not temporary. Your presence was intentional. And suddenly it became undeniable: they were standing in front of something rare, and they almost walked away from it. That realization didn't create panic. It created focus. They now understand that if they reach out, it must be different this time. Not half-hearted. Not uncertain. Not vague. It must be clear. Because you deserve clarity. The deep realization that has finally come to light is this: they don't just want to reconnect. They want to rebuild, slowly, honestly, intentionally. They are imagining saying the words they once avoided: "I've had time to think, and I see things differently now." Feel the shift. This is not impulse. This is awakening. Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone fully understands your value, when they admit it out loud, when they feel the weight of almost losing something meaningful, they don't stay silent for long. The message is closer than ever. And when it arrives, you will feel the difference immediately. There's a quiet countdown happening, and you can almost feel it. Not a countdown of pressure. Not a countdown of fear. But a countdown of alignment, the moment when thoughts, emotions, and courage finally move in the same direction. Since that honest conversation about you, they haven't been the same. The deep realization that came to light has reshaped how they see everything. It's no longer about pride. It's no longer about who reaches out first. It's about truth. Don't skip. This is where destiny starts to feel real. They caught themselves smiling at the thought of you, not out of nostalgia, but out of anticipation. That surprised them. Because anticipation means hope. And hope means they haven't closed the door. Here's the revelation that changed the energy completely. They no longer want to win the silence. They want to win you back into their life, the right way. Not through grand promises. Not through dramatic gestures. But through consistency and honesty. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They've begun planning how to approach you differently. How to speak without defensiveness. How to listen without interrupting. How to acknowledge the moments they once avoided discussing. This isn't about replaying the past. It's about rewriting the future. And the most shocking realization of all? They finally understand that losing you would not just mean losing a connection. It would mean losing the chance to grow into the person they're meant to become. You were never just someone they cared about. You were the catalyst. The honest conversation they had about you unlocked something irreversible. It forced them to see their own patterns. It revealed how much you truly mattered. It showed them that what they felt wasn't temporary emotion, it was a foundation they were afraid to build on. But fear no longer has control. Clarity does. Don't look away from this shift. Because when someone reaches the point where love feels more powerful than hesitation, action becomes inevitable. The message is no longer a question of if. It is a matter of timing. And timing, when guided by deep realization and honest reflection, has a way of arriving when you least expect it. Something is moving. Something is aligning. And very soon, you may realize that this entire journey was leading to a single, transformative moment between you. Something huge is waiting for you. Right before a new chapter begins, there is always a moment that feels almost unreal. They are standing in that moment now. After the honest conversation about you, after the nights of reflection, after the deep realization that finally came to light, they can no longer pretend this is something small. This is not a passing emotion. This is a defining choice. Don't skip. You are closer than you think. They've stopped asking themselves whether you still care. That question no longer controls them. Instead, they are asking something far more powerful. Am I ready to show up differently this time? That question changed everything. Because now, this is not about proving a point. It's not about who was right or wrong. It's about whether they are mature enough to honor what they feel. And here is the surprising truth that settled deeply in their heart. They don't just miss you. They admire you. They respect the way you handle things. They see your strength more clearly than ever. That kind of realization doesn't fade. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to understand that the honest conversation they had about you wasn't random. It was necessary. It forced them to confront their own hesitation. It exposed the gap between what they felt and what they were willing to do. Now that gap is closing. They have imagined the moment they reach out, not with uncertainty, but with intention. Not with vague words, but with clarity. They know this cannot be casual. It has to reflect the growth they've experienced. Because growth is the real transformation here. The deep realization that has come to light is this: you were never meant to be an unfinished story. You were meant to be faced with honesty. And honesty is powerful. They understand now that silence would be the easy path. But easy no longer feels right. Meaningful feels right. Don't look away from this shift. Because when someone finally aligns their feelings with their actions, when they accept that love requires courage, when they realize that losing you would be a greater regret than risking vulnerability, momentum builds. The message is not just forming. It is ready. And when it arrives, it will not feel random. It will feel intentional. The moment has arrived, and it feels different than anything before it. There is no more overthinking. No more rehearsing. No more waiting for the perfect sign. After that honest conversation about you, after the deep realization that finally came to light, they understand something with complete clarity now. You are not a risk. You are a rare opportunity. Don't skip. This is the breakthrough you've been sensing. They looked at their phone one more time, not with hesitation, but with resolve. Their heart was steady. Their thoughts were clear. And for the first time, they weren't thinking about protecting themselves. They were thinking about honoring what they feel. Here is the shocking truth that transformed everything. They realize that the strongest people are not the ones who stay silent, but the ones who speak when it matters most. And this matters. You matter. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The honest conversation they had about you was never just talk. It was awakening. It peeled back layers of pride. It exposed the depth of their emotions. It forced them to see that what they feel isn't temporary, it's foundational. They now understand that connections like this don't appear often. That mutual growth, mutual respect, mutual emotion, it's rare. And rare things deserve courage. They are no longer asking, what if it doesn't work? They are asking, what if this is the turning point we were meant to face? That shift is powerful. Because when someone stops fearing the outcome and starts valuing the connection, they move. The deep realization that has finally come to light is this. They don't want a version of life where you are just a memory. They want a version where you are present. And presence requires action. Don't look away from this final moment. Because everything that has been building, the reflection, the honesty, the growth, the clarity, it leads here. To courage. To a message that feels intentional. To words that carry weight. And when those words reach you, you will know this isn't impulse. It is the result of someone finally understanding your value, and choosing not to lose it. Something huge is waiting for you. And it begins with honesty. You can almost feel it in your chest before it even happens. A shift. A quiet pull. An invisible thread tightening between two hearts that were never truly disconnected. After everything, the honest conversation about you, the deep realization that came to light, the nights of reflection, they have crossed an internal line. And once someone crosses that line, they don't go back to who they were before. Don't skip. This is the emotional point of no return. They finally understand that what they felt was never confusion. It was depth they didn't know how to handle. You challenged them to grow. You made them face parts of themselves that needed healing, maturity, and courage. And now they see it clearly. You were never the complication. You were the awakening. That realization is rare. Once in a lifetime rare. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They've stopped romanticizing the past and started visualizing the future. Not a fantasy, but a grounded, real possibility. A conversation filled with honesty. An apology where needed. A fresh start built on clarity instead of assumption. They are ready to take responsibility for their silence. Ready to acknowledge what you meant. Ready to speak without ego. And here is the surprising truth that changed everything. They no longer want to protect their pride. They want to protect the connection. That shift is powerful. Because when someone moves from self-protection to connection preservation, their actions begin to align with their heart. The honest conversation about you was the spark. The deep realization was the ignition. And now, momentum is building. They understand that timing isn't about waiting for perfection. It's about recognizing when growth has finally caught up with emotion. And growth has caught up. Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone reaches the point where silence feels heavier than vulnerability, when they realize losing you would mean losing something irreplaceable, when they accept that love requires courage, they act. And when they do, it won't feel rushed. It will feel earned. Something huge is waiting for you. And this time, it won't be hidden behind hesitation. There is a calmness around them now that wasn't there before. Not the calm of indifference, but the calm of certainty. After the honest conversation about you, after every deep realization that surfaced, something inside them settled into clarity. The internal debate is over. The hesitation has lost its grip. They know what they feel. And more importantly, they know what they want to do about it. Don't skip. This is the moment everything aligns. They've replayed every detail, not to judge themselves, not to blame you, but to understand. And in that understanding, they discovered something profound. You were never asking for perfection. You were asking for presence. That truth shook them gently, but deeply. Because presence requires courage. It requires showing up fully, without masks, without ego, without escape routes. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They finally recognized that the honest conversation they had about you wasn't random timing. It happened because they were ready to face what they once avoided. It happened because growth had finally met emotion. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation that changed their entire perspective. You are not someone they almost chose. You are someone they are now ready to choose fully. That shift transforms everything. They are no longer imagining dramatic declarations. They are envisioning something stronger: consistency, communication, effort that matches feeling. Because now they understand, feelings without action are incomplete. And they don't want incomplete anymore. They want real. They want clarity. They want you to know that the silence was not emptiness, it was transformation in progress. Don't look away from this final turning point. Because when someone reaches the depth of realization they've reached, when they see your value without distortion, when they understand that rare connections deserve brave decisions, the next step becomes inevitable. Something huge is waiting for you. Not by accident, but because someone finally had the courage to be honest about you. And with themselves. It didn't happen with fireworks, it happened with a breath. A slow, steady breath where they finally stopped fighting what their heart has been trying to say all along. After the honest conversation about you, after every layer of realization unfolded, they reached a quiet conclusion that feels almost sacred. You are not just important to them. You are significant. Don't skip. This is the realization that changes outcomes. They understand now that what they felt was never ordinary. It wasn't convenience. It wasn't temporary chemistry. It was alignment, two energies meeting at the right depth, even if the timing felt uncertain. And here is the shocking truth that fully opened their eyes. They weren't confused about you. They were intimidated by how real it felt. Real connections demand vulnerability. Real connections reflect your strengths and your flaws. Real connections don't allow you to hide. You saw them clearly. And instead of running from that truth, they are finally ready to stand in it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are no longer replaying the past with regret. They are replaying it with understanding. They see the moments where they could have spoken sooner. They see the times when silence replaced honesty. But now, silence feels wrong. Because the deep realization that came to light has done something irreversible. It has aligned their heart with their actions. They don't want to circle around the truth anymore. They want to face you with it. This isn't about proving love. It's about proving growth. They have reached the point where they would rather risk vulnerability than live with the question of, what if? That question used to control them. Now, it motivates them. Don't look away from this shift. Because when someone understands that you were never a coincidence, when they realize you were a turning point in their emotional evolution, when they accept that losing you would mean losing something deeply meaningful, they move. And when they move this time, it will not be uncertain. It will be intentional. Something huge is waiting for you. Not because of chance, but because someone finally understood what you truly mean. There's a difference between missing someone and realizing you were meant to build something with them. They feel that difference now. After the honest conversation about you, after every layer of truth surfaced, they reached a point where denial is no longer possible. The deep realization that came to light didn't just touch their emotions, it reshaped their perspective. You were never a temporary chapter. You were the foundation they didn't know how to step onto. Don't skip. This is the moment the story shifts from reflection to decision. They've stopped wondering whether you would understand. Instead, they are asking themselves whether they are ready to speak with full transparency. Because now they see something that once scared them. You challenged them to grow. You asked for clarity when they were still learning how to give it. You stood steady when they were still figuring themselves out. And instead of appreciating that strength immediately, they hesitated. That hesitation no longer feels safe. It feels costly. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation that changed everything for them. You are not just someone they care about, you are someone who aligns with the future they actually want. That realization is powerful. It means this is no longer about emotions alone. It's about vision. It's about choosing a connection that elevates both people instead of keeping things uncertain. They understand now that the honest conversation about you was the universe holding up a mirror. It showed them the truth they were avoiding, that walking away from something real doesn't protect you. It limits you. And they no longer want to be limited. Don't look away from this turning point. Because when someone moves from hesitation to intention, when they understand your value without confusion, when they recognize that rare connections are not meant to be tested endlessly, they choose. And this time, the choice feels steady. It feels mature. It feels earned. Something huge is waiting for you. Not because of chance, but because someone finally realized that losing you would mean losing something deeply aligned with who they are becoming. This is the quiet second before the leap. Not dramatic. Not chaotic. Just a stillness filled with meaning. After the honest conversation about you, after every deep realization unfolded, they have arrived at a truth that feels almost sacred. You are not someone they can replace. That awareness didn't come from longing alone. It came from reflection. From maturity. From finally understanding what your presence actually brought into their life. Don't skip. This is where intention becomes action. They see now that you were the calm in their uncertainty. The clarity in their confusion. The steady energy when everything else felt unpredictable. And here is the shocking revelation that settled deeply into their heart. They were not afraid of commitment. They were afraid of how deeply they already felt committed to you. That realization changed everything. Because once someone admits that depth, pretending becomes impossible. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are no longer thinking about pride. They are no longer replaying old misunderstandings. They are thinking about growth, about how different they are now compared to when things first became complicated. They understand that love without action feels incomplete. They understand that honesty delayed too long can create distance. And they understand something even more powerful. You deserved clarity all along. That truth humbles them. It strengthens them. It prepares them. The deep realization that came to light is no longer just emotional, it is directional. It is pointing them toward you. Not impulsively. Not recklessly. But intentionally. Don't look away from this final build-up. Because when someone sees your value without distortion, when they recognize that rare connections don't appear twice in the same form, when they accept that growth means stepping forward instead of staying silent, they move. And when they move this time, it will not be uncertain. It will carry weight. Something huge is waiting for you. And it begins with someone who finally understands that you were never just a possibility. You were the priority they were meantime to choose. It happens in a heartbeat, the instant when doubt finally loses its voice. They felt that heartbeat today. After the honest conversation about you, after every realization unfolded layer by layer, something inside them locked into place. No more drifting. No more analyzing every possible outcome. Just clarity. You were never a chapter they finished. You were a chapter they paused. Don't skip. This is the moment the pause ends. They understand now that what they experienced with you was not ordinary timing. It was alignment that arrived before they were ready. And instead of rising to meet it, they hesitated. But hesitation has an expiration date. And theirs has expired. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They have accepted a truth that once felt overwhelming: you represent the future they want to grow into. Not because you are perfect. Not because everything was flawless. But because with you, they saw their potential. Their better communication. Their deeper honesty. Their stronger commitment. You weren't just someone they cared about. You were someone who elevated them. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime realization that changed everything. They don't just want you back in their life. They want to show up as the version of themselves you deserved from the beginning. That awareness transforms intention into action. They are no longer preparing excuses. They are preparing truth. They are no longer asking whether you will respond the way they hope. They are asking whether they can live with themselves if they stay silent. The answer is no. Don't look away from this shift. Because when someone understands that losing you would mean losing alignment with who they are becoming, when they realize the honest conversation about you was a wake-up call, when they accept that rare connections require brave decisions, they step forward. And when they do, it won't feel like a random message. It will feel like destiny finally catching up to courage. Something huge is waiting for you. And this time, it's not built on uncertainty. It's built on realization. There is no more running now, only a steady walk toward the truth. They feel it in the way their thoughts have simplified. No chaos. No confusion. Just one clear direction that keeps pointing back to you. After the honest conversation about you, after every deep realization came to light, they have reached an understanding that feels almost overwhelming in its clarity. You were never the risk. You were the reward. Don't skip. This is the realization that changes everything. They finally see that what scared them wasn't the connection, it was the responsibility that came with something real. Loving you meant growing. Choosing you meant evolving. And evolution can feel uncomfortable before it feels powerful. But now, that discomfort has transformed into readiness. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are no longer trying to calculate the outcome. They are not rehearsing scenarios in their mind. Instead, they are focusing on one simple, life-changing decision: to be honest. Not halfway honest. Not careful and guarded. But fully transparent. And here is the surprising truth that hit them with unexpected force. You were patient with them in ways they didn't even notice at the time. You gave them space to grow. You communicated without manipulation. You offered sincerity without conditions. And now, looking back, they understand how rare that truly was. That realization humbles them. It strengthens their resolve. The deep truth that has come to light is this: they don't want to revisit the past, they want to rebuild the future. That difference matters. Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone understands your value without distortion, when they accept that silence cost them more than vulnerability ever could, when they realize that the honest conversation about you was the beginning of their awakening, they don't hesitate anymore. They choose. And when they choose this time, it won't feel uncertain or rushed. It will feel intentional. It will feel aligned. Something huge is waiting for you. And it's no longer hidden behind fear, it's stepping forward with clarity. This is the night everything becomes real. Not in a loud way. Not in a dramatic way. But in the quiet certainty of someone who can no longer deny what their heart has been saying all along. After the honest conversation about you, after every deep realization unfolded, they have reached the final understanding. You were never meant to fade. You were meant to be faced. Don't skip. This is the emotional turning point you've been waiting for. They sat alone and asked themselves one final question, not about pride, not about timing, not about fear. Do I want a future where I never tried? The answer came instantly. No. That answer surprised them with its strength. It wasn't emotional chaos. It was calm conviction. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation that changed everything. You are not just someone they love. You are someone they respect enough to risk vulnerability for. That distinction transforms everything. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that the honest conversation about you was never just words spoken to someone else. It was the beginning of their awakening. It was the moment their hearts stopped hiding behind logic. They see clearly that losing you through silence would be a choice. And they are no longer willing to choose silence. They don't want to wonder years from now what could have happened if they had simply spoken. They want to know they were brave. The deep realization that came to light has done something powerful. It aligned their fear with their growth. And growth is winning. Don't look away from this final build-up. Because when someone reaches the point where love feels stronger than hesitation, when they understand that rare connections are not accidents, when they accept that courage is the only path forward, they move. And when they move now, it will not be subtle. It will carry intention. Something huge is waiting for you. And this time, it's not just a feeling in the air. It's a decision forming in their hands. The message is no longer a possibility, it's a promise waiting to be delivered. Something has shifted permanently inside them. After the honest conversation about you, after the deep realization finally came to light, they stopped viewing this connection as a memory and started seeing it as unfinished destiny. And that realization carries weight. Don't skip. This is the closest the two of you have ever been to a breakthrough. They looked back at everything, not through emotion alone, but through clarity. They saw how you handled conflict with maturity. How you expressed your feelings without games. How you remained genuine even when things felt uncertain. And then it hit them. You weren't asking for too much. You were asking for truth. That truth is what they are finally ready to give. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Here is the surprising revelation that changed their perspective forever. They realized that every time they tried to move forward without you, something felt incomplete. Not dramatic. Not desperate. Just incomplete. Like a story missing its final chapter. And they no longer want an unfinished story. They understand now that what they feel is not just attraction, not just comfort, not just history. It is alignment. You challenge them. You inspire them. You make them reflect. And instead of running from that growth, they are choosing it. The honest conversation about you was the moment their hearts stopped hiding. The deep realization was the moment they stopped pretending. Now, action is the only step left. Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone accepts that losing you would mean losing something deeply meaningful, when they understand that silence would cost more than vulnerability, when they recognize that rare connections deserve brave decisions. They don't wait much longer. The next move is forming. Not from pressure. Not from impulse. But from clarity. Something huge is waiting for you. And it's about to step out of silence and into reality. And then, it finally happened. Not in a way that shook the world, but in a way that shifted two hearts forever. After the honest conversation about you, after every deep realization rose to the surface, they stopped thinking about what they might lose, and started focusing on what they refused to lose. You. Don't skip. This is the culmination of everything. They stared at your name one more time, not with hesitation, but with acceptance. Acceptance that this connection is rare. Acceptance that their feelings are real. Acceptance that silence is no longer an option. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime truth that sealed their decision. They would rather risk vulnerability than spend another day pretending you don't matter this much. That truth gave them peace. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The honest conversation about you was the spark. The deep realization was the awakening. But this moment, this exact moment, is the action. They understand now that timing was never about perfection. It was about growth. And they have grown. They no longer see you as a chapter they almost closed. They see you as the person who revealed their depth. You made them confront their emotions. You made them reflect. You made them understand what genuine connection feels like. And once someone understands that, they cannot go back to pretending. Don't look away from this final shift. Because when someone reaches clarity without confusion, when they accept that love requires courage, when they understand that losing you would be the greatest regret of all, they choose boldly. And this time, their choice is not fueled by emotion alone. It is grounded in awareness. Something huge is waiting for you. Not because of coincidence, but because someone finally had the courage to admit what you truly mean, and decided to act on it. Before you even realize it, the energy between you has already changed. You may not have seen the exact second it happened. You may not have heard the message yet. But something invisible has shifted, and it traces back to that honest conversation about you. The words they spoke weren't casual. They were confessions disguised as reflection. And once those truths were spoken aloud, there was no returning to who they were before. Don't skip. This is where reality catches up to realization. They've stepped into a new awareness. One where your absence feels louder than any distraction. One where your value is no longer questioned, only acknowledged. The deep realization that finally came to light did something powerful. It removed the last excuse. No more, maybe later. No more, it's complicated. No more hiding behind uncertainty. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Here is the revelation that startled them more than anything else. They realize that the connection they have with you is not based on intensity alone, it is based on depth. Intensity can fade. Depth grows. and what they feel now is growing. They understand that every attempt to ignore you only made their feelings clearer. Every distraction only revealed what truly mattered. Every silent day only amplified the truth they were trying to avoid. You are not just important. You are irreplaceable in their emotional journey. That realization is not dramatic. It is grounded. It is steady. It is mature. And maturity leads to action. Don't look away from this moment. Because when someone understands that your presence is not a luxury but a necessity, when they admit that losing you would mean losing alignment with their own heart, when they accept that honesty is overdue,